What is reality? Reality is what we believe to be true about the nature of our surroundings. But how do we come to decide that true nature? Do we conceive it completely on our own? Or do other devices gently sway our thoughts onto a pre-decided path? This is the hard question we must all ask ourselves as free humans on this planet. Who sculpts your reality?
Reality.
I am, and thank you very much, Dan and Dawn, for having me on your show tonight. Not a whole lot. Been enjoying the journey. My friend and I really feel blessed, and we're humbled. We actually feel privileged to even be able to photograph these anomalies. Yes, there are some that are questionable, but there is definitely some that does have your head scratching. So I don't know which the last time we talked was June 14th, if I recall right.
Somewhere around there, yeah. It was definitely in June.
Yeah, right before I went on my vacation with my son.
Mm-hmm.
So we went back out there. When the last time I talked to you, just a brief introduction. We went on vacation, my son and I. I had broken my right toe, but I did not find that out until August. I had went back to work for the construction crew and doing long hours doing that. My toe wasn't healing. Didn't know why. I stumbled into my the vacuum cleaner in my son's room, and I broke it twice, and they actually wanted to operate on it. So I pulled myself out of work. And long story short, by doing that, led up to some incredible sightings over the past few months. And
so, how much of this stuff? Now, you sent me quite a few photos. How many of these did you see when you photographed them? Any of them, or was it like you were?
Oh no, they're all cloaked. They're all cloaked.
Okay.
Those are all cloaked except for the nighttime ones. You're going to feel the energy, the vibration.
Right. So, tell me a little bit about that. I mean, you do catch an awful lot of these things, so tell us your secret.
The secret is, guys, let the universe decide if they're going to put on a show for you. The secret is, when you connect with, I had the ability to be able to connect with these guys back in 2013, and they taught me abilities that I had forgotten. And that's the truth. At that point, a lot of classroom time was from everybody in the field. For the last 70 years, I had went through every video. Ingo Swan. To get to the Tom DeLong, too, I would love to question one of his panel members, Hal Putoff, with the abilities. Oh yeah, he knows. He's a man in the know, and there's a few others.
I've got mixed emotions about that guy. I mean, I feel like he may be being deliberately misled and into thinking that, hey, look, it's this way when it's really not. I feel like it's like how they talk about the partial disclosure narratives and stuff, how they want it. It's just like, it's almost true, but it's not quite true. You know what I mean?
I feel like Tom's heart is in the right place.
Definitely.
I have not read his book. I'd love to. When he he was on a book tour with Peter. I have a hard time pronouncing his Lovato. Anyways, long story short, a lot of these guys hold the keys. They do. I mean, you do your homework and have the experience. You can collaborate. A lot of it. So which photograph do you guys like?
Well, I mean, I'd like to start out with this, let's see here. I'm going to do the full capture. It's the pizza one that almost looks like a flying slice of pepperoni pizza.
Oh, it does. I nicknamed that. It does. Somebody said it could be a butterfly, but I don't get it. I never knew of a butterfly to come to a point like an edge of a pizza like that. Right. It looks like a starfighter. It looks like a starfighter ship or something.
It does, yeah. One thing you got to factor in too, though, in situations like this is motion blur and perspective. So I'm not saying that this is not a craft or something like that, but I am saying that it is possible to me that it could be a butterfly. Even with the angle, just because of motion blur and perspective.
It is, and I'm open-minded to all that.
Or perhaps a moth.
Yeah, I mean, but then on the other hand, maybe it's like
a
Pizzagate ship.
There you go. Wow.
Maybe John Podesta's flying around in that sucker.
Oh, geez.
But yeah,
that's
I just, and for you guys over here is a larger, kind of more defined image of that, and hard to say. Could be something anomalous, could be a butterfly. But it's just motion blur.
I see how it could be a couple of things. Like, I see how if you're looking at it one way, it could be some kind of winged creature, maybe like a bird or a butterfly. But then if you look at it the other way, it could be like a triangular thing pointing forward, like to the top left.
So tell me about the circumstances surrounding this picture.
All these pictures were done, I took a bunch of pictures that day. We even went into different areas. I believe that some of these are interdimensional. I mean, we could go so many routes.
Yeah, totally.
To say, but I just find it incredible.
So, do you get a weird feeling and you just whip up your camera, or are you out there just taking 1,000 photos?
Well, this last time around, a couple days ago, yes. They know we're out there. There isn't a time that my friend and we're kind of used to it by now, but we know when we're being watched and followed, and that was definitely the energy, the vibration. I changed my tactics on how I do it now, and so I'm catching the anomalies is all I can say.
So what did you change? What's your new tactic?
snapping away.
Just snapping away, huh?
May we be, yeah, snapping away.
Yeah, I mean, if you're
Snapping
trying to...
away. I got a 32 gig memory card. I can just snap away.
Now, what kind of camera are you taking these pictures with?
I am using an Olympus Tough, the first generation Tough model. I wish we've been doing this on a shoestring, my friend and I.
Oh, yeah.
Went from Sony cameras to, boy, I've been through 3 vehicles during the course of this adventure.
Yeah, I can understand.
Yeah. So in that Tough camera, it's waterproof. You can even take it underwater to a certain depth.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. Maybe you'll get a USO one day.
Now, we can even go as far as I had a Sony cam. I had a Sony 14 megapixel camera that was Wi-Fi. These guys turned my camera on. This is now we can get into the secret space part of things too. So it was playing through my jacket after shutting it off. Yeah. So.
Yeah, man. Now, so does anybody else in the area? Because it's like a hot spot, right? This Turner Leeds area. You call it the Turner Triangle, right?
Well, I didn't call it that. Somebody.
Well, I mean, not you, but it's been. Yeah, it's called that.
It's called that. There is a newspaper article hanging at a museum here in Portland. I have a hard time saying that name too. Cryptozoology or
cryptozoology.
Yeah, it's the only one in the world. So.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, and that was part of the key, guys. My experience started in 2011 with my friend and I with his telescope, and one thing led to another.
Yeah.
And so I stumbled onto the museum piece of the key, and being from Turner, almost 2 years ago, I'll make 2 years in March, I took my son and I went there. And they had that article from 1986, the Turner Triangle.
Yeah, I remember you sent that to me last time.
Yeah. And so with everything that we see, nobody's really follows through, I guess. Or if they have, they kept it quiet.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Like, there's got to be other people out there.
Oh, there is.
Running around doing the same stuff. I mean, how do we find their photos? Is there a group or something like that?
Somebody's keeping... no, I don't belong to no groups.
No, I mean, like, like an online group, like on Facebook or something like that. People share these photos from that area, or everybody's just being tight-lipped about it?
Nobody has shared any. There is one... there is a couple videos. There is one from Turner, Maine. Not sure who the guy is, but you can look it up. He captured the same thing I did, like with a portal type thing, a portal or something shimmering in the air during sunset.
Was it like one of those big spirally ones, like they saw in Finland?
I can't recall. It's a couple years ago, but it is on YouTube if you search out Turner, Maine.
Yeah, we'll definitely look into that. We'll end up posting it out to our YouTube, or not YouTube, the Facebook group.
And that one's not mine. That's somebody totally different. I believe they live somewhere off Lower Street.
Well, I mean, it would just, it's such a hot spot. You would think there would be a bunch of other people, and it would be nice to have some other people from that area to kind of corroborate you. You know what I mean?
And that's why, I've been sharing, hoping for that. But maybe it wasn't meant to be for these other folks.
Maybe not.
I don't. These guys know your intentions. You think you're going to have an ET connection without them thoroughly knowing you?
Yeah, especially with them being telepathic in most cases.
Oh yes, all of that exists. Telepathic, the downloads you get. I got a major download on Christmas. The footage of Christmas of 2015.
So what is that? How does that work? Like, what happened? You just woke up and you knew some stuff, or
it was like, especially the lights on the ground. It was almost like getting a pattern, reading a pattern, and then a telepathic message right before the craft came into view. I got the feeling.
So what
it's a feeling like no other.
What was it? Can you describe it at all, or is it just like unexplainable, undescribable?
It is unexplainable, guys. The best person that does a lot of this clear hearing in the voice, I recommend the retired FBI guy, John DeSosa, with his book called Clear Hearing. That came at the right time for me, and thank John. I've been out of work. He gave me a copy of that on my birthday, and I really appreciate that. That answered a lot of my questions, because I still have a bunch of questions. Will I ever get them answered? Maybe not. But
hey, I'm right there in that line with you. Every question is 30 more questions.
Right, because with my friend and I, we've been on a journey with the spirit world, with all of it, and interdimensional, and I believe our own agencies or Navy or whatever you want to coin them as, have been monitoring it. It is a hot spot. It only makes sense. I can only tell you how I feel about it. Mm-hmm. There were times, this was not an easy road. Some of this from my friend and I.
I couldn't imagine it to be. I mean,
no.
this
you stumble on a base, you're going to find out. And we were on my motorcycle when that action happened. Yes. So, and I don't want to get into the negative things, because we're here to share the story. Everything that you see, like especially that first X-Files episode of 2016. I'll tell you, if that's not an eye-opener.
Yeah. That whole series, I mean, it just nuggets everywhere.
The dirt boxes, right before they get in the limousine and they talk about the dirt box, and they don't want to talk outside. I'll let you go wherever you want to go with that, because a lot of this is happening over the golf course, too.
Really?
I find that interesting.
And the new X-Files, the episode.
A lot of these.
Go ahead,
Say that again.
No, go ahead, Don.
A lot of the anomalies have been near the golf course lately.
Oh, interesting.
The recent stuff. Mm-hmm.
Did you see the episode with the dude from Flight of the Conchords, Murray? And he was the shape-shifting lizard guy.
No, I haven't.
You talking about
the new X-Files episodes?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I've seen the trailer. I have seen. Yeah, that's right. There is a shape-shifting character in that, isn't there?
I haven't seen that one yet.
Trailer. Have you seen the trailer of the upcoming new one coming out?
No, not yet. I haven't. I guess Dan has.
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
No, I was talking about the last episode. I think it was the last episode of the most recent, reboot season of X-Files that came out.
Yeah, it was like the whole thing could have been 2 episodes, and they just had all this stupid stuff in the middle. Yeah, but I mean, X-Files is a good show. There's a special place in my heart for that show, man. I was a kid essentially when it was coming out. Yeah.
Right.
Girl, I guess that was like early 90s.
Well, man, that was like the golden age of sci-fi television, or one of them anyhow, in like the mid-90s, when you had X-Files, Star Trek Next Generation, DS9, all on TV at kind of the same time.
You know what? While we're on that kick, have you seen the show? Oh, geez, what was it called now? It was the guy who goes and investigate the UFO abduction group.
Oh, People of Earth.
People of Earth. Have you seen this show yet, Don?
I think that show is specifically trolling us, not just the secret space program movement in general, but specifically, I think that
Dan's
show
paranoid.
is trolling Reality Brief.
It's a comedy.
That's a comedy?
Yeah, it's a comedy. Yeah. I like it. I mean, I could see how it may offend some people who have experiences, but I think for the most part, they could probably get a laugh out of it.
Right. Now, none of this would have been possible from our friends in the UK, I can tell you that right now. The cigar-shaped craft is a favorite of mine. Yeah. This recent one that happened on my son's birthday.
Let me go ahead and find that.
The one that happened on my son's birthday, this recent one, the 9/21.
Yeah.
Daytime, up close. Wow.
Yeah. That's this one. Oh, 9/26. That's not it. Do I have 9/21?
Yeah, you do. It was at the beginning, the first set of photographs.
Oh, the spheres.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought that was the I thought you were talking about the cigar. I'm sorry.
I did. That one's a good one too, but this most recent one with that, yeah.
So here's the first image. It looks like just a round black sphere with a glare on it from some kind of dome, and then we've got this other one. Now, I'm assuming you took these pictures in succession.
Yes.
And this
well,
one.
Well, no, wait. The 921. That's 3 of them in one photograph.
See, that one blows my mind. Like,
all right, I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the breakdown. I'm pretty sure this is at 921, where one of your friends has.
I did. One of my friends had separately zoomed in the ufologists in the UK.
So these were all taken in one. This was all one photograph. These 3 spots here.
One photograph and 3 of them.
So now the middle one and the bottom one, man, I think it may be a possibility that the top one could be a bird or something.
It could be many possibilities.
No, I know. What the middle one and the lower one, I don't really see anything, like a good yeah, because it looks like it's got a rim around it,
and it looks very flat on the top.
Mm-hmm. The reason why I say I think it could possibly be a bird is just because I've seen some pictures of birds that look similar like that with the points coming out, because it's moving so fast. But again, I'm not saying it's a bird, and I'm not trying to insult you, Don, at all. I just
it's everything is on the table. It is what it is. I believe they're interdimensional. These guys can shapeshift. They can do whatever. We've seen it. There were times that we thought we were watching a hologram. Now, we can't share everything because I'm not going to be posting up people's... Somebody's observing whatever's going on over here. That I can tell you. We nicknamed this one building called Noah's Ark, and we've done that since 2012 or 2013. I can't show you that. I have shown a very good friend of mine, and he says it looks a bit odd. But, that being said, there's a lot of strange things going on out there. I wish I had the camera equipment, the time, and I don't even know how far I should take it. I don't.
Right.
I'd love
as
to
far
take
as
it
it'll
further.
go, sir. As far as it'll go.
I mean, I told you before. I guess I'm not sure what happened with you. Maybe were you catching some flack or something from some people? Kind of put you down a bit. You were talking about maybe walking away for a little while.
I did. I was done with it because that's what seems to take place, especially when you start talking about the abilities.
Well,
you get a connection with nature and these abilities. I think half the battle is remembering and recognizing once you notice your abilities.
Right.
And you just go further with it. Go ahead and I know I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. What I was gonna say was that like I mentioned to you before on Facebook, if it's something you really love to do, man, don't let anybody talk you out of it, man. If they're, you know what I mean, like just being rough, being mean to you, whatever. If it's something you love, man, just do it. Like
we do.
We get a lot of haters here on Reality Brief.
Oh yeah,
we just keep rolling right on because we like to do this. We don't make any money on this. What little bit of money we get from our donations goes right into paying the overhead on all the different services we have to buy to do this. And
this. Go ahead. You're right, and people don't realize when you get into, it's a hobby. I mean, you got to throw away, the expenses. All right, you're going to get into it. You either go in all the way or not at all. That's how I looked at this. So, my car is down. This is another interest. This is how the universe works. Mm-hmm. My car went down August 6th, actually on our anniversary that started all of this back in 2011. We went and checked on the secret base there. That's probably why I got bad karma. Yeah, it's officially shut down. Doesn't mean it can't be reopened. But that being said, my exhaust went, and my car went down. And so this time around, which has never happened, I went out spontaneous with various friends since August 6th. Now that should tell you something there. And catching these anomalies and not planning it and letting the universe just roll. Let it unfold.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to roll with it, man. I mean, the universe is definitely dumping on me right now, but, you know, I can't complain, man. I'm rolling with it, man. I'm taking the punches. It'll get better. It always does. It just will take some time.
It will. I believe we're on the cusp of, you know, the disclosures trickling out a little bit.
It is.
They're not gonna tell you everything, and I don't expect them to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but
I mean, as far as like this topic, the you know, UFOs, this type of thing, it seems to be being accepted a little more, but you still see people, you know, oh, you're just crazy. You know what I mean? And look, you may be crazy, but that doesn't mean you ain't right.
no, and it's been positive. Now, there was fear in all of this. There's no doubt when you connect with these guys, you don't, especially your very first, you know, connection. It's like, wow. Like I told you guys, we were told to leave that when we had that connection there with the ET and the Shadow Man, and we were floored that day. And when you connect, and even if you don't see them, you're going to feel them. Every hair on your body's going to stand up. That is the sign. You're in the presence.
Right. I would imagine. Now, you talking about seeing an actual entity or a craft?
Oh, no. You're not seeing them, period.
Oh, just knowing they're there by feeling.
Knowing they're there. And then when you get home and you see it unfold on video, boom.
Yeah, that's got to be.
You never forget it. And this is why us experiencers who have been through this, the ones that have seen them and the ones that know when they're there, we get to pick, when somebody's up on stage or watching a YouTube video, we know right away. Those of us that have been there can know who the genuine ones are. And I'm just giving you my opinion. And John, there's certain people out on the web that know. You're going to know. There's certain things they say or in their books.
Right.
Are key signs.
See, it's tougher on like me and Dan because we don't have anything to like compare it to. You know what I mean? Like we haven't. We might have seen some lights in the sky, but definitely no feelings, telepathic connections, anything like that. That at least I can recall at this point. So I don't know.
Now, a couple of the keys. Now, I've learned this from, may it be Stephen Greer's or the guy from Russia. The guy from Russia definitely said that was the key. These were different, how we changed up our tactics over the years. Sunrise and sunset, that's a key. Mm-hmm. They like to appear at those times, but they will appear at all times. But those are very good times, sunset and sunrise.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So now I still got the image of the three up there, and you're saying that you feel like these ones in particular are interdimensional?
I do.
Well, what gives you that feeling?
These ones trip me out, man.
Yeah, I like the filters on them, but the picture, you can see the original picture in the background here, Dan.
Yeah.
See the two spots there and the one there. This one.
Yeah, and that's inverting that is also inverting the photograph, so it brings out the detail. And I thought it looks great. That first one, it looks flat on the top, guys. On the underneath,
right?
Some said it looks like a duck. Nah, I don't know. Maybe I don't think so. Not with a dome on the bottom. But
it almost makes me wonder. It's like you remember what's it in Star Trek? There was that one species 8472, and they grew their ships. Their ships were not built; they were grown. Mm-hmm. They were organic ships. It makes me wonder if that is an alien craft of some kind. Maybe it's something.
What could be biological?
It could be, biological or organic in nature.
Yes, biological. Now, I even got a video up of where I captured a craft going over the power lines a couple summers ago, and then the cigar-shaped craft, and the Christmas sighting, I met the Navy guy that I talked to. Really, I really led into him a little bit. And poor guy, he's a good guy. The guy that represented MUFON. Just wanted to let you know, but the poor guy, I really let it all out. I mean, from the abilities, the Ingle Swans, the remote viewing, all those things play a role when you get down into it.
Yeah, you know, it's becoming more and more common that people are wrapping up this, you know, ET sightings or, you know, just ETs in general with some sort of spiritual thing like the New Age metaphysical stuff. You know, I guess it can make sense.
I agree with all that, just because of what I've experienced. The things, though, that sometimes I don't like what they tell me with these short, brief messages, because it's always bad news. I don't want to hear the bad news.
Who does want to hear bad news? I definitely don't.
I don't. I had a heads up. I tend to block those out. I did comment 2 days after that sighting on the 23rd of September.
You got a 23rd. Let me see if I'm up on the 26th.
I typed a little message saying,
okay.
You know, a heads up. You know, I'm telling you what I was told. A heads up. All hell is going to break loose, and even what Donald Trump was saying, the calm before the storm.
Right.
I mentioned that.
People have been interpreting that all kinds of different ways.
Right, and so this was like a week and a half, 10 days before all of this was even known or transpired, as you all know, with the Vegas thing. But yeah, so you can go where you want with that. To me, it's nothing new under the sun anymore. So,
right.
You know, the Boston. You know, I had an experience with the 12-hour notice with the Boston bombings, not knowing the target, just knowing, short and sweet message. Something's going to happen that makes history. That was it. I didn't tie in.
Your spidey senses were tingling.
Yeah, and that was the second time that voice thing had happened.
Yo, that's that kind of happened to me, like, on a smaller scale not too long ago. There's this night that, like, I was working third shift at 7-Eleven, right? And my spidey senses were telling me, yo, something awful's in the air. So I went ahead and dropped all the cash out of my drawer. And then it wasn't at our store, but, like, 2 stores down the road, like, right near the city line, there was a store where the cops ended up, like, shooting 3 guys, and, like, one of them got killed. A whole bunch of bad shit went down.
And you see your
I could feel it. Yeah, I could feel it in the ether.
Yes. And that even goes with a similar experience happened. I believe I talked about it on one of your shows. When I was with my boss, we're going to a construction in Jefferson, Maine, and this is before he even hit the news. And it's a long drive. It's about an hour away. But long story short, I had a bunch of coffee. The minute we stepped out of the car to go to the bathroom, I knew right away something bad had happened here. And sure enough, as the day went on, into the following day, News 13 had said there was a body found there. So, you know, these abilities and senses, and I think when more people recognize and listen to their intuitive inner knowing that, hey, you know, there is something here.
Right.
It's recognizing it.
So, take me forward 5 days to this this cigar shape on the 26th.
Oh, the one that flew over my house.
Yeah, the one you sent me. That's the same one you sent me the video of, right?
No, the video one is a flying rod that we captured a couple of days ago on the 21st of October.
It almost kind of looks like
and
a
that
submarine.
that was the only video I took of that day. But that one you're looking at now, I'm just coming in now. That one is over the house. There's actually 3 objects in this photograph as well.
Right. I remember seeing this
I
when you
only
first took it.
Yes. A nice lady named Gabrielle did this for me. Yeah.
So, any did you feel this one too, or was this just a random snap over the house real quick?
Oh, no, I felt that. Something told me I wanted to get some sunset pictures, and boom.
Yeah, it's
just like I catch just like these balloons, and I mean I seem to know when everything's going to be lifting off near my house for some reason. Can't kind of explain it all, but I know that there's things in the air. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, I think you should try to do some more video, man, because it would really help with the analysis to be able to check out the motion blur and the glares and different things to find better definition, because you get a lot of frames with a video. You know what I mean? So it's a lot more than just one snap.
I don't want to charge. I don't. The agreement is not to monetary gain on this, because it's been really a blessing and a privilege.
You provide a public service, man.
Yeah.
People deserve to know if there's weird stuff going on in the skies over where they live. People, should be so lucky to have somebody on peeping that stuff out and recording it.
Totally, man. Like I wouldn't feel bad. If you started a Kickstarter to get a new camera or something, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, man.
I would love to start a GoFundMe page to at least get the new Olympus 5th generation that came out there only a couple months ago.
Right. I don't know how well it would do.
And to get because I'm not working, guys. I took myself out. They wanted to operate, so I took myself out of work. Raising my son. I avoided 2 operations. I'm probably lucky to even be here sharing this story with you guys. So, so I've been healing and trying to capture some incredible video and footage. But my camera I bought that used from a PI guy a couple of years ago. And it is 2012. But I also do know that something's told me, and I've read it through the files. Are you guys still there? I've read how certain cameras you want some of these older generation cameras from 2012 down. They're putting new filters on these cameras.
Different sensors. There's upgraded sensors every time.
Yes. That sensor on that particular brand model picks up dark. If it's dark, it's going to expose it. If there's not enough light.
Yep.
And it does. And with this new generation, it's $500. I know to me that's a lot.
It is a lot.
I only paid $100 used.
Right.
A couple of years ago for the first generation, but it is 4K. Now you definitely could get some good video.
Right.
I'm thinking about if somebody wants to help me start a GoFundMe page. I'd be more than willing.
Man, I think it'd be worth a shot. Like I said before, I don't know how well it'd go over, but it'd be worth a shot, definitely, I think. And I don't think that would count as you making money on it. You're just trying to upgrade your stuff to get better pictures for people.
Right. And my friend and I have been doing this for 6 years and we could definitely, even band together and either do somebody direct all, because we have so much footage. We could make our own little video if we wanted to, or even write a book. Because if somebody wanted to go that route, I'm not very good at, how do I want to say, spelling, or finding the right words for some of these incredible feelings and instincts, and that's coming from all the guys with the PhDs and all that field. But I can definitely relate to some of what they're saying. That's without a doubt.
Now this cigar one you got here on the 26th. This one, what's interesting to me about this, I think,
it's like a submarine,
right? And from what we know, talking to different veterans, whistleblowers, whatever you want to call them, that the German fleet, at least the German faction, German faction of the Dark Fleet, it's the older ships were submarine shaped. And, you know, even too,
the U.S. Space Command ones, the Hillenketter, the Aaron Burr, what was the other one?
The Solar Ward, the Solar Warden,
yeah,
you know,
Solar Warden ships.
Yeah, right, because last September's video, the cigar-shaped craft was really good. Somebody from the Disclosure Project out of the UK did a close-up on one of the frames. I'm sure you guys seen it already. It's on my page. But, and there was sound that I was so close to that event of last year, the cigar-shaped craft, it was going so fast with no mechanical moving parts.
Right.
But because of the velocity and being in close proximity to the microphone, it picked up cutting through the wind. It was incredible.
The another interesting thing about it is you've got those old like paintings of space battles. You know what I'm talking about? I know you've seen them probably on Ancient Aliens or, you know, whatever, one of those shows on the History Channel. They always show these paintings of cigar-shaped craft and circular craft kind of like having a battle over Germany.
I can't say I've seen that one. I mean, I've seen the paintings like from the cave, you know, like what appears to be on, what is it, the caves or whatever, you know, round disc, but I don't think I've seen
this would be like, I'm assuming, I'm not sure on this, but Dan's looking for it, so we're going to pull it up. But I think it's like 1500s, like painting.
Huh.
But yeah, it's pretty. I've seen it all, and you know, in all those different shows that you see on like the History Channel or whatever.
Now, when it comes to the cigar-shaped crafts, I keep an open mind. They seem to be around for a long time.
Yeah.
I think there's even some that say there might even be ties to the Palladians or other races of that nature. I forget. You know, I saw so many videos, I forget half of what is.
Yeah, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean it's only one faction or group or race or whatever flying these things around. I mean, it could be just a common design.
That's right. You're very right there, and I agree with that. Obviously, these things are cooking. You know what amazes me? May it be ours or theirs or interdimensional, whatever. Especially with a cigar, you hit something at that speed, you would think there's got to be some sort of shields. Okay, Scotty, put up the shields.
Right.
You know? You go out in space with one of those things. I think it's even been, I've seen documentation or videos even showing the Star Trek ship. You know, if something was to hit it at those speeds in space without any form of protection, you know, I don't know. It boggles the mind.
So I found the Wikipedia entry for this particular picture, and it doesn't, I guess it's not a painting; it was a printing, like it was in a book or something. So the 1561 celestial phenomenon over Nuremberg, mass sighting of a celestial phenomena or unidentified flying objects above Nuremberg, Germany. Phenomena has been interpreted by some modern UFO enthusiasts as an aerial battle, possibly of extraterrestrial origin. This view is mostly dismissed by skeptics, some referring Carl Jung's mid-20th century writings about the subject, while others find the phenomenon is most likely to be a sundog. Now, let me see if I can zoom this up for you guys. It's pretty, I don't know if you can see this at all, Don, if you got YouTube open.
Yeah, my head, yeah, it's been dodgy here. I just had to refresh the browser, but I do see the photograph to the right here. Wow.
Let me make sure I'm on the right. I think it's, yeah, let's just put it up on the full screen for everybody. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely interesting. Crosses, cigar shapes, and you can see they look broken.
Wow.
Like they look like they were snapped, and the balls, it looks like balls are coming out of some of the cigars too, like, you know, carriers.
Oh, yeah. Wow, I'm impressed with this. Where'd you guys get this?
This is just something that's been out there, man. I found this I just typed it in and found it right on Wikipedia.
I have not seen this photograph. I meant this article. I find it very interesting.
Yeah, it's like a depiction of a mass sighting that happened in Germany in 1560 something. But yeah, I mean, and if you look down at the house, I don't know if you can make this out, but you see the smoke coming off the house, and there's a bunch of little of those circles like on the house making the smoke. It's like they're crashed and fell into the house, and it caught fire.
It almost looks like a helicopter the way the little blue is to the right.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty interesting. Hey, the cigar-shaped craft always.
Oh, and it has a dome on it. It looks like there's a light. It used to be imprinted, so I'm tuning into some of the fine details here. Trying to.
Now, if you want to check this out on your own, like maybe do a little research for yourself to check it out, it's called the. Let me find it. Jeez. 1561 celestial phenomenon over Nuremberg. There's actually a wiki entry on the whole thing, man. I mean, wiki is what it is. But
I want to see. If you could share this link with me, if you remember.
I'll put it. I'll definitely put it in the group.
I want to look more into that. Now, not to change the subject, guys, but have you heard that something about they found some more pyramids
off the coast of Maine?
Yeah. No. Isn't there one like Mexico?
Yeah, actually they found that a while ago. The Mexican one, it's off the coast of Cuba, right? Is that the one you're talking about? Underwater?
Yeah, well, I'm aware of the Cuba one. That was a couple years ago. But wasn't there another one? I thought I read a recent article where another one was discovered.
I think I vaguely remember something about that. What are we looking at, Dave?
What's it? It's a Renaissance painting with a Vimana in it.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Yeah, look at that.
Huh.
Over Jesus. Huh.
Yeah.
Well, the ancient. Let me get my hair up. I'm not saying it's aliens, but.
Well, there's another one that I found by a guy named De Gelder, and if you go to Google Images and do a search for De Gelder, the baptism of Christ, it basically shows Mary and Jesus with a UFO floating over them, shooting
beams down on them.
Yeah, it's pretty rad.
Yeah, that one is.
That's from 1710. The year 1710.
1710. Wow.
And I'm sorry for derailing that, but where were you going there? I completely blanked out on what you were saying before Dan found that picture.
I was going to say something, because Dan had brought something up there early this past summer or the last time we talked. He brought up something interesting. I was trying to remember what it is. I should have probably recapped on the show. But
he does that every once in a while.
Yeah, people don't realize when you get into this and you go out and have all these experiences, you gotta and watch all these videos afterwards and stuff. You gotta like dump a lot of this information that doesn't mean nothing to make room for the new stuff.
Yeah, I know. You're constantly like, for me, I'm constantly like. Okay, shifting shit around. Like, okay, well, maybe it's like this, then. Oh, well, this guy's saying this, so maybe that links with that this way. I'm just constantly, like, turning and turning and churning, trying to figure this shit out. And like I said, it's harder for me because I don't really have anything to compare these stories to other than other stories. I don't have any experiences of my own that I know of.
Right, and where me and my friend, like I said, it's been a blessing with multiple experience that, I have the ability to really key in on some key players here, and I'll leave it like that. Like I said, I'm behind John's work, and Jason, is it Quinn? Sorry, guys, if I'm saying your last name wrong. Jason Quinn, have you heard of him? I think I shared an article today from what John shared with me yesterday. I find it very interesting. It's from October 24th, the Secret Space Program. He wrote up a nice little article.
Okay, so I'm sorry, not to change the subject. I'm just trying to get my picture straight here. 1021 is the one that goes with the video?
1021 goes with the video, yes, of the flying rod.
Okay. I guess we're coming up on the hour, so I guess we need to kind of barrel through these last few so we can get into the deep discussions next hour.
Okay.
But so we just have this 1021 one, which I'm about to pull up for you guys out there watching now. As soon as I figure it out. Oh, it's already up there. What am I doing? Now this was the one. Now this was another cigar shape.
No, this is a rod. I had to do
It's
some
a rod,
research.
okay.
This appears to be a rod. It seems like this one girl actually did I even had to research this myself. That appears to be a rod.
Mm-hmm.
You can make of it what you will. All I know is the friggin' thing is definitely cooking.
Yeah.
You know, and it can leave, you know, when they're flying at velocities like that, you know, and you go to look at these frames, you know, it could leave a long trail. It seems like.
Definitely.
So I'm going to say that one's a rod.
All right. I'm going to play the video for everybody watching out there so they can see the actual video you took as soon as I figure out what.
And thanks to Gabriel for her hard work of slowing it down.
This
a Mac
is not
computer.
It. Where did I put it? Oh, geez. Where'd it go? I know I downloaded it because I watched it after I downloaded it.
Yeah, I tried to send you the original, but it was over 25 megs, and that was only
they won't let you do that.
I believe. Well, in the original video, you can. I think she just used, you know.
No, I meant when you were witnessing this, you heard it, or
that
was the cigar.
Oh no way!
I'm sorry.
Those things are flying so fast. I did not
confused.
see when you start have experience, and both of our cameras at the same time. Yeah, another thing is take it off autofocus. It was playing with the autofocus big time. So I do know that I was taught by many friends that put it in manual mode. Just some tips I want to throw out there for anybody else that.
Right. Yeah, that's some good tips there, man. I'm gonna go ahead and play. I got it up now, so I'm gonna go ahead and play this video for them. You can see it kind of fly by, and you know I am familiar with this phenomenon that you're talking about called rods. This isn't new for me. I've looked into this before, and they were finding a lot of them in caves. And there's a phenomenon that happens in space that is similar to this. That they only found it when they used a certain type of camera that like added an extra frame or something, and it's like only in every 3 frames or something like that. I'm trying to remember what they were calling it, but I'm gonna look that up again because that was definitely interesting. But yeah, I mean, you can see it here, and this is the one that I showed you guys the still of a minute ago with the trees. So
yeah, that's the one that is definitely. There was 2 objects in that photograph. That's the one I like out of all of them.
You doing all right? Yeah. All right, so we are coming up on the hour. I guess I'll go ahead and prep the break. Did you have any more tips for us?
I guess that we can talk about it after the break. It all depends where you want to open up the phone lines.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Next hour, we're going to open up the phone lines for you guys, too, if you got questions for Don or if you want to get in on the conversation. We also got some news for you.
A friend of mine said something to me about seeing some weird stuff in the skies locally. If she's listening, go ahead and call in. It's 528-8130, 757-528-8130.
Don't call in now. Wait till after the music because we're going to break.
We're going to break right now.
Yeah, I would love to hear other people's stories. This is Halloween we're coming up on.
Right.
And we even have a UFO sighting near the New World Trade Center in New York City.
Now that I would be interested in. I think I might have saw a glimpse of that.
We'll have that at the top of the hour.
Yeah, we definitely got tons of other UFO encounters that came out this week. A lot of crazy stuff. Talking more. We were talking last week about some sightings. This guy saw some rectangular shaped crafts. Similar to the black triangles, but rectangular in shape. And then Michael Sala comes out with this article yesterday about someone talking about a rectangular space weapons platform.
They ought to call that the USSS Barjars.
Now, I did see the Michael Sala one, and yes, I agree with that. That you're seeing a lot of things. I think you're seeing the big shift happen. There's no doubt. The master shift is happening. But anyways, I don't know how long you got before you break here, but...
Oh, well, we're just waiting on wrapping this up, and I can go to break at any point. So,
all right.
I guess we'll go ahead and hit that break, and we will see you guys on the other side.
Good times, ow!
light begins to fade, like a time begotten play. Broken worlds will be diminished. It's the end of our days. Follow the empty silence to a room without pain. No time for betrayal. Could it matter anyway? Everything seems so clear. From the darkness we won't fear. Deception awaits us all. Our last days have come. Follow the empty silence to a room without shame. No time for betrayal. Could it matter anyway? We carry on like nothing's wrong till we become the ashes. We carry on like nothing's wrong till we become the ashes. From dust to dust without regret. Don't grieve for those you've never met. The time for silence has won. The mistakes have all been undone. Follow the empty silence to a room without blame. No time for betrayal. Will it matter anyway? Something is wrong with these souls in our these souls in our these souls in these souls in to the ruin when we fall to the brink of the edge. Not that it matters when we're all dead. Something is wrong with us.
It's not playing. Hit it. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Are you ready for the Power Hour, the second hour of Reality Brief?
This is where some of the fun stuff happens.
Some of the fun stuff, hey, a lot of fun stuff happened last hour too, so what do you know about that? But if you like what you see, you can hop on over to YouTube, say if you're watching on Facebook or Twitch or whatever, you can hop over to YouTube, search for Reality Brief, give us a little subscribe there, subscribing, it helps us out in the long run. You know, hop on over to Facebook. It's facebook.com/realitybrief. We do tweet occasionally, and that would be Twitter at realitybrief111. But if you really like us and you really think it's something special, you can hop on over to patreon.com/realitybrief.
It's just an idea.
You know, maybe consider a small pledge $1 or something like that. It helps us out because we can expand our system. Look, it's a hobby for us.
A quarter.
We ain't got endless amounts of money to dump in this shit, but it would be nice to be able to upgrade some stuff. So if you know, whatever. You ain't gonna hurt our feelings if you don't.
Bet you can't hit us with a quarter.
Toss it really hard at your screen right now and see if you can hit us. So, Don, before we went to the break, we were talking a little bit about some UFO hunting tips. Is there anything else you can kind of fill us in on about that? Oops.
Yes, slowing the video down is a big deal. When you review your footage, it doesn't matter if you got just reviewing your footage after coming back from the field in video, you want to slow it down at least 4 times. These craft fly cloaked, fast,
right? And
you're lucky if you get 3 to 5, 6 frames, all depending on their velocity. And especially with having a good camera with 1080 IP or better, that's a bonus, or the 4K.
And you said
I haven't had the luxury to try the 4K yet, but I would love to.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Yeah, I think it's going to be quite some time before we can partake in that luxury. We're still struggling with 790 or whatever here. But, so, I'll tell you, I completely lost my train of thought. There goes that fever delirium again. So, taking shots...
They're just updating your program.
You said that the best time that you found would be during dusk and dawn, right?
Well, that is what's said, but as you can see, I've been doing...
You've got them all over, yeah.
I'm all over the place. I'm enjoying the daytime stuff. I know they're cloaked. You're either going to catch them or you're not. They seem to like the warm weather over here.
Really?
Yes. Over the winter months, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. We haven't done it except for that Christmas. That was a 60-degree day, 65 degrees that day. But it would appear that the best months are from March till about October, November. Especially with November, with the leaves coming off the trees, and if we have some warm days, about 60 or above, you're going to catch something. You got the right equipment, being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, I've considered doing it myself. I just haven't had really time to devote to that. I mean, we're right by, we're in the southeastern portion of Virginia, and we're surrounded by like 40,000 military bases. And
yeah,
also,
and so you got all kinds of frequencies. You're getting all this energy from various,
Plus, we are like right on a ley line, like right smack on a ley line in this area. So, and you got Northman Grumman over there.
Well, yeah, and there have been numerous. Hell, I've seen one. A TR-3B Astra over Newport News.
The black triangles?
Near where J. Clyde, Route 17, and Highway 64 have a cloverleaf. I was coming home from a friend's apartment one night back in 2004, and I saw this big floating black triangle hovering low and slow. It was a rainy, crappy night, and so, like, the sky has this purpley orange, sort of dull brownish glow to it. And especially when it's raining and, the clouds are low, moving fast.
Right.
So this big, massive shape like really stood out, and there was a white light, one at each point of the triangle, and then a red light in the middle.
Now, you bring up a very good point, Dan, with the weather. They seem to use the weather, too, in certain conditions, especially the ET contact. That was foggy that morning. Actually, I got one photograph where you see the sun. It seems like they use the environment, too, to shield themselves. But that's I'm going out there speculating. But.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
that's
if
our
a big craft. It would make sense to cloak it in a cloud, or
Yeah,
even
no
if
doubt.
you could manipulate the temperature around the vehicle
create a
to
cloud.
generate a cloud.
right. And Don, just so you know, our most favoriteest pastime of all on Reality Brief is speculation. That's pretty much all. That's pretty much all we do here.
Even if that speculation is fruitless.
It is. Because you know how many people, especially if you stumble on the secret bases and you see a drone come in for a landing, and, I've had people in the past say, well, why don't you go storming out there? Because we see this crane, too, and what appears to go underground. It's like, guys, no. I've worked in security. I'm not going to go do nothing illegal. I come here peacefully. I even told the Navy guy that was the worst mistake I ever did, was to stumble onto that base, because that's where the headaches started coming.
Right.
Headaches in the
Yeah, because
environment.
that base could have very well been at least partially human run. So that would definitely get you into trouble. And
Well, now you bring up another interesting point.
Before
Now,
you get to that point, let me just remind everyone out there listening that the phone line is 757-528-8130. If you've got a question, comment, you want to get in on the conversation, go ahead and give us a call. Sorry for interrupting, Don. Go ahead.
I have one interesting photograph now. Hypothetically speaking, of what has been said over the years with our military working with certain races, I have one interesting photograph, and it's hard to prove, but
Right.
what
Well, it
appears
all
to
is,
be
pretty much.
what appears to be a tall white, and one of my photographs like sitting on the craft, and his legs are dangling. I might have shared that. That was a few years ago. About 2 years ago, but yeah, so I have some interesting photographs that are, like they are now. You can't, you really can't, you really got to use your imagination on some of this, and it's like, man.
Yeah. Some of it is definitely a stretch, but, I think what makes this whole topic of exopolitics probably a little easier for me to accept is that I have been researching and been an activist, what people are now dubbing the cabal, what's been called the Illuminati or the New World Order, for a long time, well over 10 years. So there's a lot of unanswered questions into that research. A lot of it, most of them, is the whys. Like, okay, I see you're doing this, right? But why? So when the exopolitics kind of meets that, it just explains everything, and it makes so much sense, even if it's completely outlandish, like totally unbelievable. It ties all them points together with all that earthly-based research that I've been doing for so long.
Like the massive holes in the budget of pretty much every country.
And the main thing was, one of the main things is population control. I mean, that's a big one. Pretty obvious. There's an agenda in place, right? But why?
Yeah.
On the surface, they say, we're destroying the planet, whatever. But the technology and stuff is out there now, even what is emitted, to where it shouldn't matter how many people are on this planet. We should all be able to live.
And have the same access to everything that they have access to a certain degree, maybe.
Right.
Well, and let me tell you, there are some famous sons of bitches in American history that I just look back and just loathe. American and British history, because the two are very closely tied. One of them is definitely Oliver Wendell Holmes. Another one's LBJ, but I think one of the worst of the lot was Malthus, John Malthus, the guy who first started pushing the idea that, Earth is overpopulated, there are too many people, we need to start killing people off, we need Planned Parenthood to control the undesirables, and, we need to curb the population, there's too many mouths to feed. which is verifiably bunk. I mean, you could fit basically everybody on Earth in between Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, and Missouri.
Yeah,
and you would have a population density equivalent to Paris, France.
I just saw something of that, yeah, showing what you just mentioned. I actually showed a map of what you just described, how you can fit everybody in a certain state.
Yeah. So.
I kind of like what I found it interesting there when the elections were taking place last year. There was a statement by George W. Bush Sr. that you guys can't handle the truth. I guess there was somebody in the audience. And think about it. What a perfect place to conduct a secret operation under the nose of, a very, it's not very highly populated out in these regions here. And what a perfect place to have such type of activity if you want to, have black projects and secrets and spacecraft and Lord knows what else.
Yeah, I mean, we do know there's some very intense black projects going on, not even factoring in speculation. I mean, it's incredible, man.
Right, and if this is a UFO hotspot, it only makes sense to have that both types of activity.
Yeah, there's definitely some. If it is ETs visiting there all the time, there's definitely some Earth-based component. At least I would assume, at the bare minimum, just kind of checking them out and like, what the fuck are you doing? What I mean?
I go back to my Christmas sighting with why I think this is SSP, and it's just using a little bit of logic. I've never seen ETs use the light, and what a perfect cover on Christmas night, thinking that the original Christmas lights, when you can clearly hear them. My buddy has a better camera than I had, that with a good zoom, he could not even home in on those lights. Those were like infrared or something.
Yeah, I remember we showed them last time, I believe.
And apparently TR3B Astros pop out really well in infrared.
So I don't know if I haven't seen any alien crafts do a light show like that. Turn on all these lights on the ground, and it was like, And why the last time there was a full moon on Christmas was 1977. I find that these dates are interesting too.
Yeah,
that was one of the questions posed to me by the MUFON investigator. And they brought up the moon, and I said, I'll tell you what, that's not the moon. I can tell you that right now. The moon wasn't even out yet, because that happened right at sunset. Just got dark. Actually, my camera died after taking that footage. That's why it's incredible.
Yeah.
And I felt it. We could go several ways with, was it possible? My lab, I'm open to all possibilities.
Right.
When it comes to all of this, I can only speculate, but I find it interesting.
Well, while we're on the topic of the SSP, we've been talking. Trying to get this Space Marines thing through the Air Force off the ground, and they've been. They wanted to create
a new Space Corps,
and I read that article.
Under the new 2018 NDAA, because they sign a National Defense Authorization Act every year, so it was just the one that everybody was pissed off about was the one that in 2015, 2014. That
there's been a bunch of them. They do all kinds of shit with those.
The one that in particular started to permit for the indefinite detention of Americans without charges.
Yeah.
Well, in the 2018 NDAA, Secretary of Defense James Mattis has sent a letter to House and Senate negotiators saying that he opposes both the creation of a Space Corps. He also opposes the creation of a Chief Information Warfare Officer, which that might tie in with the story we're going to bring up here in a little bit. The House version of the bill requires the former Senate version. The Senate version requires the latter. Mattis wants neither. He doesn't want either of these.
Mm-hmm.
And this letter was sent to the Big Four negotiators, the chairman and ranking members of the House and Senate Armed Services Committees, John McCain, Senator Jack Reed, Mac Thornberry, and Adam Smith. The 2-page letter obtained by Politico outlines the areas in which Mattis has the strongest concerns. Chief amongst them are the budget caps imposed by the 2011 Budget Control Act, which remains the law of the land, but the Space Corps and the CIWO are also mentioned in the relatively brief list. Both these committees and the Air Force agree that changes need to be made as to how national security space programs are managed. So this implies that there are other national security space programs
there's a ton
going
of
on.
there's a ton of them that
Each
are
has
just on the
its own
surface.
solutions, however.
Now, the interesting thing about this is it's been said by a few different people, including Corey Good, that they're wanting to disclose an Air Force space program, right? Maybe this has got to do with the fight for this, is that, well, no, maybe they're not ready for it. Maybe they thought they were, or maybe that wasn't the case at all. And this one guy, what was his name? The guy who originally sponsored it? I can't remember, but he's from like Kentucky or something like that. Maybe he just wanted to do it, and then the people who are in the know are like, oh, wait, no, we can't do that because then it's going to end up revealing too much. But, I mean, who knows?
Well, this article goes on, it mentions the Air Force insists that it knows changes need to be made and is making them, beginning with the creation of a new position of Deputy Chief of Staff for Space Operations, the so-called A11 slot. This new office began operations in August, and Major General David Thompson, Vice Commander of the Air Force Space Command, reportedly has been chosen to lead it. So there is a new guy in charge of Air Force Space Command, so keep an eye for, whatever's going on there. In his letter, Mattis calls a proposal to create the CIWO, the Chief Information Warfare Officer, and a DoD Chief Management Officer premature. As for the Space Corps, he says he opposes creation of a new military service and additional organizational layers at a time when we're focused on reducing overhead and integrating joint warfighting functions. Secretary of the Air Force Heather Wilson and Air Force Chief of Staff General David Goldfein have been making these same points. So apparently what they're trying to do is, instead of putting it out in the open, Mattis would rather just, keep it so whatever is going on in space just falls under the umbrella of whatever already exists.
I was under the impression, guys, not to interrupt here, but I was under the impression that the Air Force and the Navy were like rivals,
right?
And I don't know if it was William Tompkins or I had heard it from somewhere that the Navy seems to be leading the way.
Right. So then, according to the narrative, let me just clear this up for you a little bit. The Navy space program is the Solar Warden. Okay, so you're talking the big guns, the 20 and back, all that. The Air Force space program is low level. Black triangles and some space stations. And they don't know, allegedly, they don't know about the Navy program. This is why the whole thing with Tom DeLonge gets kind of iffy, interesting there, because he's with this Air Force crowd. And he's saying, no, there's no Navy program. When you got all these other people saying, yeah, there is a Navy program. That's what makes me feel like he's being deliberately misled, and this may be the track for the partial disclosure where they get out that low-level Air Force thing.
I agree, but I also agree with what John had said earlier on Fade to Black on Jimmy Church's show when this was all breaking. He said it best, that panel is definitely interesting. It looks like they want to turn it into a media show. I can't help but to get that feeling, making movies, a TV series. I don't know if we're going to get the truth. You got to really put your skepticals on when you're hearing it from the insiders, I guess, because we could be misled from many ways.
Right, definitely, most definitely.
Right. So, and I agree with you guys. It's hard to distinguish what is going to, they're going to tell you some truths, but they're not going to tell you everything.
No,
I don't
absolutely not.
And I believe over the years, with all the secret and people that have died in the past because they knew too much, or they would have to answer to a lot of that, and I don't think they want to go there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't
but
think
that's
so
my
either.
opinion. That's my opinion. You're not going to get it all. Don't expect it.
If the stories of slavery, child sex rings, and all that stuff involved in these secret space programs is indeed true, they definitely do not want you to know about that. Without a doubt.
Right, and that would play in with this technology. And that being said, in the darker agenda, I think we can see in the underground facilities, I think we could see where that could play into that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad.
Now, the Space Corps thing is kind of separate from this panel that Trump put together at the beginning of the year with the heads of, SpaceX, it was Elon Musk, and all the big wigs in the private space industry. And they put together this panel, and they were going to talk about how to move it forward. But there's another interesting article that we stumbled upon that could give this thing and a different level with Mattis. Could he be trying to buck against Trump for this right here?
Now, keep in mind, this is coming from Slate, which is typically a left of center.
But I gotta say, I could.
But their science is usually pretty straight up.
I think that
this could
I
hate their politics.
Very much be the case. So we're gonna go ahead and say, could Trump fund science by back-channeling military investment? So what? Essentially, I'm not gonna read this. If you want to read it, you can go up to slate.com. I'm just gonna give you the boil down. So
they're giving $40 million to SpaceX.
So it seems as though this Space Corps thing could be a way to kind of funnel money into these scientific research programs in private industry. So the way it would work would be the Space Corps gets an annual budget, right? And then they turn around and they contract out to like SpaceX and that kind of stuff. So it's essentially, funneling money, tax money into space research.
And, anybody who living here in Hampton Roads, you spend a lot of time around military bases and, places like NASA, the shipyard. And one thing that you learn is who really runs the military, at least from the support of the military. It's all contractors. Mm-hmm. Contractors run all these places.
I want to know about I know there has to be a remote viewing team working. We're just not, you think it's declassified. I guarantee you that's in full swing on various.
They probably got buildings full of people hooked up to neural networks. Like
no doubt, man. I wouldn't do
so
this.
Designed to function as
one massive remote viewing.
Right.
Minority Report.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so who's to say that Mattis or various agencies aren't getting some form of intel,
right,
from within, And I'm just throwing that out there,
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and I'm not saying that what we were just discussing is the case. It just certainly adds another intriguing dimension to this whole Space Corps thing, and how that plays into disclosure and the secret space programs.
Mm-hmm. I believe, you have these capabilities, and they're not going to tell you all the secrets. The Russians were ahead of us when it came to these supernatural abilities. There's no doubt about it.
Mm.
And I think secret societies, these Bilderbergs, all of those groups, the Freemasons, the higher-ups knew about a lot of this stuff that's been suppressed. They don't want you to go out and have contact and notice you got these abilities all the time.
And there's a lot of speculation about almost a DNA activation, like some type of solar event. A lot of this stuff is coming from Corey Good and Dave Wilcock too, so I don't know how you feel about them. I kind of take in...
The spiritual part, I agree with the spiritual part. Now, it's, we're getting into the realms of, doing 20 and back, and it's hard to wrap your mind around that, but right. I'm not saying that it's not possible. These guys could have mind wipes.
Maybe
I'm
even if you're lucky, a
open-minded
mind
to all
wipe
of that.
prime.
You and that damn mind wipe prime. Yeah, I mean, certainly, what I try to do is just, I get a weird feeling from certain people, but I still try to take in the information and just kind of see where everything fits, see where it lies. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I'm not saying that I believe it. I'm not saying I don't believe it. You know what I mean? I just try to take as much in as I can and just try and figure shit out. But I mean, it's just so much relying on witness testimony with no evidence and things of that nature. I mean, some of these people I've become close friends with. I definitely believe what they're saying. You know what I mean?
But ultimately, you yourself have to decide what you're going to let sculpt your reality, you know?
Pretty much. I mean...
And who's to say we don't have an upgraded Montauk type of project in operation? Too?
Exactly.
Maybe they
and
like
going through time. And this time travel thing, and deja vu, all of these parallel universes, I do believe exist. And that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, we had a guest on a few weeks ago named Jason Moss. I don't know if you got a chance to catch that one or not.
Yes, I did. That was the last show I did listen to, and I enjoyed it.
Oh, he was a great guest, great speaker.
Yep.
His story definitely intrigued me. He claimed to have seen an alter of himself come out of a black triangle, involved with this. What was it? The entity. What was the entity's race? The Zeta. He was involved with some kind of Zeta hybrid that he's got some type of connection with, but apparently there's an alter timeline or dimension that they have a connection into, and it kind of bled over into his timeline, and he saw it all transpire.
Which, I've been thinking about doing that myself, like trying to craft some sort of sigil that would allow me to communicate with other versions of myself in alternate timelines just to see how shit turned out.
I mean, I'm definitely open to that.
Right, and when you get to do the video documentation of this too in the field, it's almost like you're throwing a wrench into the metrics.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like you're breaking out of that. You're seeing it unfold. Like it's hard to wrap your mind around some of these.
Right, it is, and they vary greatly from person to person. Their memories about their service and regression and all that. But you gotta factor in one thing: if all this is happening, and they're taking these people and they're totally just, like Dan loves to say, mind wipe prime on that ass. Spaghettifying your brain, there's no way that everyone would remember it the same anyway, because they would come back, they wouldn't have immediate recall of everything, they would go live their life normally, and then they would start getting these memories back, and it would mix and blend with other memories that they had from their earthly life. So, and little details can change, one man's blue alien is another man's red alien, that type of thing, but that doesn't mean that, this one or that one is lying. Just the sheer amount of mind manipulation that these people go through, that right there is, there's no telling how they're remembering it, but they are remembering something.
Right, and I agree 100% what you just said, and that's why I don't dare to say a whole lot. When I get in touch with these guys, I don't seek them out. If they want to appear and have some form of telepathic communication, I'm listening. I'm not asking. I don't know if that helps. I'm more like a receiver. I'm receiving this information. Mm-hmm. I'm going in there with an open mind and not doing anything special, because I know I have that connection. It's kind of, it's strange. It's hard to put into words. But yeah, the manipulation does occur.
Yeah.
That's when I knew I was the Boston that Boston bombing thing. That is what was my big event. That's what threw me for a loop.
Right.
that's when it was confirmed. That's when everything started to happen. I was being monitored. My brother was a PI. Things worked in my favor. I was able to run license plates and confirm. I had I was just being monitored and observed, and I let that part go, because I was brought up in the security field, met some incredible people, including the Secret Service, and got to work with them. So it was a talent of mine, and some people can really go off the deep end when some of this stuff does transpire. You definitely got to be mind strong in all of it, because there was definitely times of depression. There's no doubt about it. When this all first happened, the first 2 or 3 years, we kept it quiet. Certain events happened to where we started releasing, and we're here today to share it with all your listeners. But these realities and parallel universes. And
you think there's bleed over?
I do. That good article with the deja vu. I do. I've said it many times with my friend on some of these journeys in the past. We've been here before. Why does this seem familiar? And these guys told me when you connect into your higher self, do you think it was luck? I mean, I don't believe in coincidences no more, especially after the Christmas sighting.
Yeah.
The coincidences start going away after you start,
I could believe it.
Right, grant you some of the video and the footages. You could take it either way, but I also got some that you just can't deny that there's something not going on. But I want to get into the spirit world, too. You guys want to do a little...
Sure.
Actually, there were a couple of things that I want to run by real quick. A couple of articles we found that you thought, we saw these and thought of you. They're both coming from Dr. Michael Sala from exopolitics.org, so let's take that with a grain of salt, but these really kind of blow my mind. We brought up last week there's this new rectangle weapons platform, and it's covert disclosure of anti-gravity rectangle weapons platform by USAF Special Operations. So before we go off on a spiritual tangent, we had a pretty solid thing going here with the black budget Air Force stuff, so I really wanted to get this out. This guy reports on the morning of October 23rd, his longtime source instruct him to look up in the sky. This is near MacDill Air Force Base. This is the Skype message he received from JP at 4:49 a.m. Hawaii time. 9:30 a.m., 30 minutes lost time. It was 10:08 when I get back to the same position where I was doing pictures today. A white mini work van with 2 guys, black baseball hats, black sunglasses, pulled over in front of me and told me to look up. They left really fast, like you could hear the tires. A platform ship really near. It swooped up. When it knew it got my attention, I was getting flashes on and off of me being inside the ship and looking down on the area where I was. And these flashes, remember being cold, really cold inside. And the guys told me to look up. I saw the ship, and then I saw the guys leaving really fast. I saw the ship swoop up. So this guy says I could still smell inside the ship. It smelled similar to when you have a lot of coins in your hands, the copper smell. Copper, copper, copper. Beautiful ship, amazing maneuvering. It went back into the clouds. And we even got a little bit of video here showing this massive rectangular thing floating in the sky.
See if we get in trouble for this. I don't care. I don't even care, man. These people get so mad when we play like little clips of their videos, but whatever, man. We're getting the word out. You should be happy about that.
Right, and that's all part of this, I believe, is, let others light their candle if they're interested in any of these subjects.
It's interesting because last week we had another sighting of rectangular ships, and it's kind of funny how this just came out.
Well, there's this rectangular thing, and then this other article about this. they're talking about they have a picture of the rectangle being accompanied by a TR-3B.
Interesting. Now, I will say...
This is from October 19th, so this is a day or two before the other thing that we're talking about.
I will say, I'm going to play Phantom Spy here for a minute, and I'm going to say that you could make a drone in any shape you want.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? You really have no frame of reference for how far away this object is. So, there is that. But, like I said, you just take it all in and see what sticks, man.
That's right. That's right.
And this guy looks like he's charging for high-res photos, so that's
No, he's petitioning to get a better camera, kind of like we are.
Oh yeah, well that's okay.
Know those feels, buddy.
as long as you're gonna give the pictures away once you take them, yeah. All right, so that's the main thing. So what did you want to get into about the spirituality?
I believe that all ties in. I have interesting photographs of the spirit world as well. But what I do want to get, and this could also tie into why I'm having a lot of these interesting experiences. I'm not sure if I mentioned this in any of the other podcasts, but my brother and I grew up right here in Lewiston for the age 1 to 6, right beside Fortin's funeral home on the first floor. And we have extreme memories of some pretty bad dreams and seeing spirits and everything. We were kids, growing up, and got to experience that. Now, does that play a role? I have to say yes, because of the anomalies I got with the orbs and what appears to be like a fairy or whatever. I mean, take it away. It could be almost anything, but I found it to be interesting. When you start playing in the spirit world, there were times that these guys would drain our energy. I mean, all of those orbs. So on 4th of July, it was 4th of July 2016, and that was a pretty wild experience.
Right. And one of the, in the paranormal realm, the ghost hunters and whatnot, they say that, a spirit manifestation could actually drain batteries and drain energy from a human, whatever that spirit may be. I'm not quite sure if I believe in ghosts. I do think definitely interdimensional.
I hope they're ghosts, because you know what? After I die, I am going to haunt the fuck out of some people.
No, let me bring up one more thing, too. I know we'll jump back and forth through the spirit world, but I think it plays a role. Now, what if this portal opens up? Who's to say nothing is coming through it while something's going in?
Right.
You're opening up, parallel universes. Say we're playing with some new technology like CERN and opening up portals, and who's to say this is some of what I'm catching out there for anomalies? I'm just throwing that out there. There's no proof of that.
That's right.
But,
hey, it's like I said, man, it's the favorite pastime of reality. Speculation.
Yeah, because
it's a lot of fun.
But there's no denying you. The craft comes into view on Christmas, and then what appears the portal will open up for a brief second.
Mm-hmm.
But I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Right.
Like I said,
I'm definitely open to everything, man, but I don't feel like I'll ever know the answers, which is why I speculation is my favorite pastime.
Right. I like what Dan had brought up in the June show about Solomon's Key.
Oh, yeah.
Or something, especially when it came to Shadow Man and the Jinn.
Are the Jinn and the Gishik entities that you evoke, are they aliens, or are they from another dimension, or?
Right, and when you brought that up, Dan, that really hit home, and I did a little more looking into that. And it's like, I got a connection with that. I just want to throw that out there. I know I didn't get to tell you that.
That's very cool.
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever had a sleep paralysis type event where you saw
I did. How would you know? I have experienced that one time. You cannot move your body. That's a scary thing.
Can you tell us about that?
Not a scary thing, but it's a fear. You know, when you can't move your body and your eyes are open, and you're like catching your breath. I mean, I don't know if I was astral playing or what, but
see, I've experienced.
I was at.
I've experienced something like that, and there's a technique in ceremonial magic known as the encirculation of the body of light. There's a ritual called the middle pillar ritual, where you use 5 different Hebrew names of God to correspond with different chakras on your body, and you create a central pillar of light that goes from your crown chakra down to your feet. It's very much like the Hindu chakra meditations, but it goes top down instead of bottom up. But anyhow, you open all your stuff up and create this current of light that goes around your body in this big spiral. And I found that when you run into something while you're out of your body that attempts to take you down or immobilize you, do that. Surround yourself with this huge shell of light, and then you can just focus it like a beam and cut through whatever's trying to stop you.
You mean you're mentally projecting that? Is that what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, because it has not happened often. That's very rare, but I have experienced being paralyzed. Now, some say that even can be abductions, right?
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I think there's a couple camps when it comes to that because we truly don't know.
There is. And I was just wondering if maybe you could walk us through that experience. Like, was there anything else other than the sensation of being paralyzed? Did you see anything? Did you hear anything? Was there dreams associated with it?
Did it feel like another consciousness was trying to inhabit your physical body?
Guys, that was you experienced that. That is something that it literally shocks you. There's words that it's just hard to describe. Some people say that could even be a negative entity. I really don't know, but I know one thing. When it happens to you, you're gonna know it.
Mm-hmm.
You will never forget it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay.
I've actually had that happen to me twice in my life, and once was just recently. I'm not gonna get into the details, but it scared the living shit out of me.
Was your heart racing? Was your heart racing? Like
oh my God, man! And I was, I don't think my eyes were open. I think I was trying to force my eyes open because I was conscious. I was laying in the position I was laying, and I could just barely see blurry shape like out of my eyes, like slits in my eyes, and I was panicking. I was trying so hard to just like push away this thing that was like literally in my face, and I ended up actually moving my leg a couple inches, and then I pulled myself out of it. It was, but dude, and there was some, right before it happened, there was this really strange dream associated with it, and like I said, I'm not going to go into a bunch of detail because I just,
Well, let me let me share an experience my son had that happened this past summer with finding a marking on the back of his neck with the number 5 dice, exactly like the number 5 on the dice.
Wow.
Yeah, that's freaky.
That is freaky.
On the back of his fucking neck.
Wow.
Now, that tripped me out. I don't know what kind of bug does that. He had just gone to summer school, and I saw that. I'm going, what the? And then somebody posted up
the greater northeastern craps beetle.
He had a picture of what happened to his arm. It was almost identical to what my son had on the back of his neck.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was mind-blowing. Don't know what it is, but it just...
Yeah, I didn't even think to look for any markings or anything like that this last time it happened to me, but it literally all happened within the span of a few minutes.
I'd be, if somebody or the experts or if we ever have some form of contact like they do in the desert up here in Maine,
Mm-hmm.
or if we get lucky. I would love to see if I might have a, microchip or whatever implant, or I would be interested in that. I really would.
I'm convinced I have one on my left shoulder.
Head injuries do play a lot with now. I will state this. This is another factor in this whole thing. I've had 3 major head injuries at 9 years old, 25 years old, and 39 with the Mustang. Now, did they do some form of abilities or unlock some of these things that I'm experiencing? I'm sharing that with your listeners. That is a possibility. There is a remote viewer. I believe his name is Moore. What's his name? Moore, but I watch all these videos, but he talks about the head injuries, and how he got hit in the head and his Kevlar helmet stopped the bullet from penetrating, but because of his head injuries, he was having these experiences with, psychic abilities or whatever name you want to call it, precognition. I hate to put labels on it, but just thought I'd throw that out there. That is another
that's pretty
possibility.
interesting.
Extrasensory perception is definitely a thing.
It is absolutely a thing. And
Right.
So is remote viewing. There's no denying it at this point. I mean, there's declassified CIA documents proving that they used it for intelligence.
But, for the next 7 minutes, you don't have to use ESP to get a hold of us. You can dial 528-8130.
757
Call and get in on the fun while the fun's
8130.
lasting.
Number's up there. Just look at it and call it. Don is
your phone and press the numbers.
He wants to hear some other questions besides the ones coming from us. Why don't you look in the chat real quick, see if we got any questions for him.
There we go.
Let's see.
No, that.
Somebody says they think the cabal is imploding, which, that'd be nice. One of our viewers says, ask yourself why there are no mobile phones with night vision and infrared spectrum function.
No, that's interesting. Yeah, that's a good one.
Damn right.
Uh-huh. Oh, you know what? I just briefly,
go ahead.
while you're looking for questions, just briefly, and if you guys are out there listening, you got a question, you can throw it in the chat if you're bashful and you don't want to call in, we can do it that way. But, damn it. I forgot what the hell I was going to say now.
One of our listeners said, Spirit Realm Talk. Love it, brothers. In my opinion, the Jinn are interdimensional and spiritual, either way super conscious, like angels, but with lots of free will. Maybe not human levels thereof. And
so he's calling them Jinn.
And and from what I hear, the Jinn and the Geishic entities, the spirits from the Geisha and the Key of Solomon, the planetary intelligences from the Greater Key, they're all related. And I would go so far as to say that, got to give credit where credit's due. Hampton can be kind of a scary neighborhood, especially for convenience store clerks, and I have a sneaking suspicion that Andromalius, a spirit from the Geisha that I've done some workings with, is primarily responsible for keeping my store safe. So, thanks, Andromalius. You're the best.
Okay, I did remember what I was going to say, Don. Just real quick. I work on cars for a living. It's no big secret. I talk about it on the show all the time. There's a thing called an alignment machine, which essentially you use to put the tires in line. Well, I'm not going to bore you with the details, but it's got these laser-mounted targets that you put on the tires. And
I'm familiar with that.
They're like the one that I have at my shop is infrared. You can't see the beam, you can't see the reflection, but if you look up at the light, you can see it blinking. But you can't see a beam, you can't see a reflection, nothing. What I noticed is, these new cars, they're coming up with, lots of cameras on them. They got backup cameras, they got side view cameras. There's a ton of stuff.
Right.
So what I had noticed is when I'm backing off that ramp, I could actually see the reflection in that camera on the screen. So I'd actually got one. It was an old one that was messing up a little bit that I ended up replacing, but it still works. And I'm planning on it. It's in the big long list of projects, but I definitely want to shoot that up at the sky by my house because there's literally tons of air traffic over here, and it could be a good cover.
Black helicopters have already been dispatched.
So UFO hunters.
To getting into that, my friend and I thought about getting, infrared, what is it, the night vision stuff. That's way out of my price range.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'll tell you what.
That's why I got an old backup camera that I'm going to try to, rig a USB thing into and use a generic driver or something to see what's up.
If I had my hands on some of these high-tech toys, I would probably shock the world.
Oh, jeez, man.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I'd be alive long enough to talk about it. But I do. My friend and I have, and I'm going to say this as an end note here, we consider ourselves lucky. Maybe someday we can talk about, some of the interesting events.
Yeah, man. Next time, why don't you try to get them up on with you? We
Right.
could do a group
I kind of leave that behind us because that was like a negative, dark forces that.
No, I mean, nothing necessarily.
At the beginning, right? And that's only you start diving into these realms, and that's expected, especially with the secret stuff.
Right.
But yeah, we had some interesting times, especially on the motorcycle, outrunning these guys on that. The things you hear on the movies and X-Files, that's all true. The feelings, the intuitions, all of that. So yeah, so when I see like these guys at near Area 51, camo dudes or the white vehicles, that happened to us. They like white vehicles. Don't know why. It's like they got a whole lot of them. I will. When you get into the secret stuff, for some reason, they got these white vehicles everywhere.
Especially Suburbans. They like Suburbans.
Not even the secret stuff. I mean, the cops, unmarked cop cars are white for the most part. Cop cars are white for the most part.
Right. They like the color white. I can tell you that. But I just find it interesting. Really.
Anything else in the chat there, Dan?
What's it? Yeah. Phantom Spy writes in. He says, digital sensors can detect infrared. Flash your remote into your cell phone camera, and you'll see. There are also specific filters that you can get that reveal full infrared range, passive lens filters. So basically,
and those are cheap.
Yeah, filters.
Yeah, you might want to look into that, Don.
Yeah,
those really are relatively inexpensive.
I'm unemployed, guys, raising my son. Like I said, maybe we could start a GoFundMe page.
Yeah, it's another item for the GoFundMe.
I'd be happy.
You can't be the only. Hey, you can't be the only UFO hunter in Maine, right?
Say that again?
You can't be the only UFO hunter in Maine, right? Somebody's got to have some infrared filter they could hook you up with.
I never ask, guys. I'm hoping that people will listen to your show down the road, and we see where we can go with all this. I would definitely like to pursue it more. I would. Why stop now? Right?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Especially, like I said before.
I'm 52 here, so why not enjoy a few more good years of this?
Yeah, and I'm sure that you have a lot of unanswered questions, too. No doubt.
I do, like you all do. I have so many that, I would love to talk to some of these people at the conferences. I wish I had the money to attend some of these conferences.
Yeah, they're a bit
So
pricey,
maybe they'll
too.
come up to Portland, Maine. I know Richard Doyon did back, I believe it was 2015. I missed it. I wanted to go. It was in Portland. But it hasn't happened in a couple of years up this way. But it would be nice to get some of these experts up this way.
Yeah, it's a rare thing down here, too, where I'm at. But what we do have going for us is we're right near Virginia Beach. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but that's where Edgar Casey made his hospital. And there's the ARE Foundation there. So we get a lot of...
Have you had toured Edward? Isn't there like a monument or a library or something of that nature?
There's a foundation. It's called the ARE building, and they have all of his original sessions, and they have a library that's full, just jam-packed full of esoteric stuff. And then there's a hospital. His original hospital is still standing, and they do classes there like meditation, yoga, that kind of stuff. And you know, I was involved. My grandmother actually volunteered there and also worked at the Heritage Store, which is a where they sold all the Casey products from his readings, like his different remedies and stuff. And they also had psychic services, past life regression, that kind of stuff. She worked in the office with the psychics.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, so I've had a lot of exposure to that stuff. And, you know, it's cool. At least we have that going for us. But they do have seminars and conferences there. But we never get into the UFO stuff. It's always the metaphysical or, like, ancient history, looking for Atlantis, that kind of thing.
Right. Well, we do have one individual. You might be familiar with him. His name is Bill Brock. He had a few shows with the Underground. I forget the name of it offhand. But a Bigfoot hunter. He's had an experience. He claims. I believe him. There again, this is what made me come all out with what I knew. This is when we spilled the secrets, when we found out this kid had a Bigfoot sighting here in Turner, Maine, where I grew up. And when it hit the local news, it was mentioned how he was being bullied by teachers and students.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I heard that, that was when I was going out to bat for this guy and sharing what I know and what my friend and I have experienced up until that point. Because we were keeping this all secret.
Right.
Because we felt, you know, and I don't know if you guys have heard of this, to almost end it on a note. In the early start of all this, we felt privileged to, you know, when we started getting all these interesting photographs and videos, it's like, wow, we're almost turning into like a Billy Meyer type thing here with all these interesting experiences, you know. So we felt privileged, and there's been talk about it in the past. If you show too much, you know, they may close the door and not be able to have any more of these experiences. So we were concerned about that, but I had got intel to go ahead. The time was right to share with what I know. And so here we are today.
Yep, and I, for one, am sure glad that you decided to come forward. And, you know, the more voices, the better. I mean, you know, maybe 2 people hear your story. Maybe 100 people hear your story. You know, if everyone is out there doing that, then those little numbers add up. You know what I mean? It's the little voices that make the big giant scream.
It does. And you guys helped me with the healing process, really. Because like you said, you know, you have these people that just come out and say things, you know, and hey, fine. And, you know, we either let it bother us or we continue on, you know, and let it go. Because, yeah, there's definitely some, you know, you can take it either way. It looks like a bird or a plane or...
Right.
You know, we're all open-minded on how we perceive things, or at least I am. We all have a different perception. It's been a proven fact. No two person, even though they share the same experience, may, you know, see it differently.
Exactly.
And that's been proven. And that bears with my friend too. On that, I was going, did you get that psychic ability? I used to question him on that. No, I didn't, Don. And this and that. So I was having my own issues. So why is it me? You know, why am I only experiencing that aspect of it?
Right.
But now, my friend, and I believe timing and the universe is going to show you things one step at a time. And so I've focused on feeling the energy, vibration, and frequency. Tesla said it. You master those 3 skills, and you're going to start seeing things unlock.
Maybe once I get better with astral projection, I'll have to project up to the Black Knight satellite myself and see what it tells me.
Let's see if there's monkey people in there.
Now that I like. That I like. I do believe in that. I believe we all have an ability of something that we just are not aware of.
Yeah. There's definitely, locked potential in everyone, I think.
Oh, yes. And I believe the schools, I think you're going to see a change here coming soon. For the best, I hope. Can only hope. Start teaching these kids, the truth. Let's share the truth. Let's stop talking about Santa Claus and Easter bunnies. And, I'm always for truth, but that's me.
Well, we are coming up on the end here, but before we go, we do have this one. We picked out probably 5 or 6 different UFO sightings that happened in the last week, and we do have one that Dan wanted to get out. The rest of them, guys, if you're listening to this, if you're interested in seeing them, we'll be posting them in our Facebook group. It's Reality Brief News. It's facebook.com/Reality Brief News, whatever the group thing is. The long title is Reality Brief, Exopolitics, and Conspiracy. So all that stuff will be in there if you want to join that group and check it out. So, Dan.
Yeah, this is coming from latestUFOsightings.net. And it stands out because there's a UFO. The title leads, New Yorkers observe a UFO circling next to the World Trade Center.
Wow.
UFO enthusiasts went frenzy after seeing strange lights hovering next to the World Trade Center in New York City. Many people from bars along the Hudson River went out to see the apparent UFO circling above Manhattan for about half an hour on Saturday night. This is dated October 7th. Some witnesses noticed the similarities of the UFO to the spaceship from Star Trek. The lights appear to blend in well with the sky. And they even got video of this thing, so...
I'm going to go ahead and play that for you now.
Check it out, guys.
Wow. What? Is that a triangle? Or is that a plane falling? What the hell?
The one on the left looks like a plane because of the blinking light, but the blue silvery thing?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was weird how that plane looks like it was just falling out of the sky.
I'm not seeing the footage here. I see you two talking.
Yeah, just give it a second. There's a bit of a delay from the broadcast to the live stream.
Yeah, hit play on that again real quick.
Oh, here we go.
22 seconds.
Here we go.
I mean, it could be a helicopter, but...
Oh, look at the blue.
It kind of looks.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like the Enterprise. Yeah.
It does.
Wow.
That's fucking crazy. What do you guys think out there watching there in Videocast land? It's pretty amazing, right?
Wow.
And that was flying around over to the WTC, or at least where it used to be. We'll play that one more time for you guys out there.
Come
watching.
on, guys, come scoop.
Yeah, pretty damn crazy.
Is that something being dispersed?
It looks like the thing at the bottom is a jet or something, or some kind of a plane, because it's got that one
paths of the plane.
Like it's got that one blinking light, but it looks like they kind of cross paths, like he was saying, and then the plane almost just falls out the damn sky or something, man.
Well, it's New York City. It's probably landing at either LaGuardia or Iceland.
Well, that's true.
Or JFK.
See, right there, it looks like something just got dispersed, or a bunch of little lights there.
Yeah.
Well, it's crossing paths.
It's pretty crazy.
And then the helicopter's above
and
it.
then you get the light up above it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the helicopter.
Yeah.
Because you can hear the noise from that.
Pretty interesting, man. And like I said, we got 5, maybe 6 other ones for you guys. We're gonna post them in our group. But Don, thanks for coming on again, man. We appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure, guys. Anytime, and
yeah, we'll
I'll be in touch. I'll be in touch if
oh, no doubt.
And any new things happen to come our way, and if it's meant to be, you will see it.
And even if not, we'd still love to have you back on in a few months or something, just to catch up.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thanks for being a part of the show.
I thank you, and you guys have a great night and a good week.
You too, Don.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, that's our show, everybody.
Yeah, so, I mean, Don, gotta love Don. We've had him on, well, officially one other time, but he called into a show one time for the last half hour or something. We were doing a
and
UFO.
He's been very active on Facebook, and both with his own group and posting in our own. And, hey, we appreciate all the interaction and all the participation and all the energy.
And I believe the name of his page is Turner Leeds.
We just shared it on
Central
our Facebook
UFO.
page. Our Facebook page. So, we got links handy, and feel free to check it out.
All right, guys. That's it for tonight, and we'll see you next week on Reality Brief.
stars beneath us.